Hi, we are here today to interview a variety of teachers to talk about mental health awareness and female equality in sport.
We are bringing these topics up to spread awareness, as in 1 in 4 people in the UK currently suffer with mental illnesses.
We asked the school safeguarding lead, Miss Abel, about her thoughts on mental health and well-being and what the school does to help with this.
So what do you think about mental health awareness is important?
I think it's really important that we talk about it amongst when we're in school, if we're at home. I think the level of social media, there are positives to social media, but there are also negatives. We need to take a break from it.
What does schools do to help?
So there's myself, which is mental health practitioner. Then you've got Miss Pittman, you've got Miss LP, you've got Miss Woods, and you've got Miss Willett, all within the welfare and safeguarding team. So we're all on hand, so students can access us if they need a safe place to come talk. If they're worried about anything, we can obviously signpost onto additional support. It could be that they want support just in school in general, then that's something that we can explore. I would definitely, if your friends are struggling or you know anyone within school that is struggling, advise them to speak up and come speak to someone, because that's what we're here for.
Are there any local services and support groups that can help?
Yeah, so the one that we signpost to a lot is coof.com, so you can access it from 12 in the afternoon to 10 o'clock at night for coof practitioners online. It's all anonymous, it's free advice, it is really good for you guys to access. You've got journaling on there, there's forums, just trying to think what else there is. There's all sorts on there. You should definitely check it out. You have local youth groups. You've got obviously if there's any young carers side, you've got the young carers youth groups that they can access. There's quite a lot in the area to access.
What would you like to see in the future about mental health?
Just continue raising awareness for it, and that it's okay to speak up when needed, and it's okay to access services. It's not a weakness. There is support out there in school and outside of school. Again, if you've got friends that you're worried about, encourage them to come talk. If they're worried about anything in general, we can talk it through and try and signpost whether it's something we can manage in school or whether we need a bit more support outside. There are services that we can make referrals to.
Do you want to give any top tips on how to support your own mental health and well-being?
I think the biggest one is to take breaks from social media. As I mentioned earlier, it is really good in the sense of you can connect to your friends, etc. But I think sometimes we do spend a lot of time scrolling. I'm guilty of it as well. We'll take them breaks, get out in fresh air, spend time with family, mindfulness in the sense of watching our breathing. Journaling is also really good. There's lots of really good things to do, just that you enjoy doing as well.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about mental health in general, about schools, mental health?
Just that I would say that it's okay to talk when needed, and that we're here if anyone needs to talk. That's what we're here for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to speak with Miss Abel and hear her opinions and thoughts on the subject. Our next interview will be with sports leaders, Mr Mills and Miss Farrell, about female equality in sport. So we're here today to interview Miss Farrell and Mr Mills about equality, female equality in sport. So do you enjoy teaching sport and why?
Do you want to start?
I can start. Yeah, love teaching sport. I think it's really good to get students engaged in sport. It's one of the best motivators. It causes the endorphins to release a lot more, so you find students are a lot happier.
Yeah, I've always wanted to teach PE from when I was in year 7, and look where I am now. And I enjoy seeing people learn new things.
Do you believe that gender in sport should be split?
So, having worked here for 14 years, I've tried both approaches to grouping. So we used to have a top set of boys and girls mixed, but for a vast majority of those sports, they didn't mix very well. And what it led to was a low confidence in the girls to perform in front of the boys. Do you have anything to add to that one?
I agree with that. Yeah.
You agree with that one?
Why is gender equality important in sport?
I think equality in the sense of achievements of equality should be recognised, that an achievement of, for instance, the World Cup, women winning the World Cup should be equally viewed as men winning the World Cup. However, in sports, it can be very different in the sense of what those achievements look like. Anything to add, Mr. Mills?
No?
Do girls have as much freedom in choice sports as boys do?
So it depends what you're referring to with that. So on our curriculum, across the Wickersley Partnership Trust, we have equal diet. So anything the boys do, the girls do, and everything the girls do, the boys do. If you see the activity overviews, everyone does exactly the same sports. So we also then have the same mix of extracurricular clubs. So anyone can access any extracurricular club, boy or girl. If you're looking on the wider range outside of school, there is that access already, although access is different. So as an example, and we learn this in Year 11 sports studies, boys football in Gainsborough, as an example, you've got many teams you can pick from, and then the games that they would play is local, whereas with girls football, there's maybe one or two girls football teams in Gainsborough and they have to travel further afield to find other girls football teams to play against.
What's your opinion on mixed gender sports games?
Do you want to answer that one, Miss?
I think, yeah, I think they're great. I think some sports, I think if you are putting, for instance, football, for instance, yeah, I think if you've got two top teams, but I think it's about ability, not about gender in that sense.
Yeah, I also think it comes down to safety as well.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't put the England men's rugby team against the female rugby team because someone's going to get seriously hurt. So it comes down to that type of sport as well. So you'll see it's done at a lot of sports like badminton. At the elite level, at the Olympics, you'll see mixed sex badminton because it's safe. But you won't see mixed sex rugby, football, things like that, just because of physicality and injuries that can occur because of that. And that's mainly down to the size of men, strength and all things like that.
How do you feel about how women are seen in the media?
I think you're best placed to answer that, Miss.
I think women are shown in the media how people interact with them. You think about social media, you think about what's getting the most likes, what's getting the most views. You've got a lot of celebrities looking at it now that are going, why is there more interaction with this? And that is because the more posts that they get likes on for certain aspects of their careers, they're going to post more of that because that's what's getting them money. However, a lot of interaction doesn't come from other things, so therefore they're not being presented in the media sometimes in the best light, but that's because what's being interacted with isn't in the best light.
In your opinion, which gender puts the most effort in sport and why do you think that?
Do you want to be more specific as to an occasion? Because if you're talking about elite sport, they're all putting in as much effort as each other.
As in lesson?
As in lesson. So from my point of view, I mainly teach boys. So I know that boys tend to put in a lot of effort, but that's not all of them. I'd say if I was to put a rough figure on it, 80% of the lads are putting everything into it. The other 20% or maybe 10% are okay, and then there's a 10% that don't want to be there. Miss, what do you think about the girls?
I'd say the females are an equal split as well, so 80-10, and then maybe there's a couple that don't want to be there.
What a fantastic interview. It was great to hear their thoughts on the topic. We are now going to discuss some thoughts of our own on the subject. Daisy, what do you think?
Well, in my opinion, mental health awareness is one of the more common subjects that people don't usually talk about as they feel embarrassed and shy. I believe that they don't like to speak as many people have anxiety and fear. Did you know that anxiety is the #1 most diagnosed mental disorder?
Thank you, Daisy. What a great insight. I think that mental health awareness is important because people can then talk about how they feel and know that they can talk to a trusted adult such as parents or a teacher they feel comfortable with. What do you think about today's topic, Olivia?
Well, I believe that talking about female equality can open up a wide subject which can be discussed with many people. In team sports, only 7% more women play, and that's a shocking 22% gap between girls and boys. This data can also show how women and young girls can be discouraged from being part of a team caused by comments made by others. After today's interviews, it was great to hear how about TGA students when it comes to mental health and sports equality. This is all for today. Hope you all enjoyed this report. Thank you for watching.